Hello everyone, welcome back. Last time we have discussed about the infection and asepsis. Today I will focus on the chain of infection. After this section, you should be able to list the chain of infection, describe the 6 chains correctly, and apply appropriate measures breaking each link in the chain. At the beginning of this section, let's watch a video. People are the most source of infection for others and for themselves. As you see, the person with the microorganism can spread it to others easily if there is no intervention. How do infections spread? Certain conditions must be met for a microbe or infectious disease to be transmitted from person to person. This process is called the chain of infection. It can only occur when all 6 links in the chain are intact. A chain of infection involves the following components: the etiologic or infectious agent, the place where the organism naturally resides, that is reservoir, a portal of exit from the reservoir, a mode of transmission, a portal of entry into a host, and the susceptibility of the host. First, we will start right at the top with number 1, etiologic agent. The extent to which any organism is capable of producing an infectious process depends on the number of microorganisms present. The virulence and potency. The ability of microorganisms to enter the body. The susceptibility of the host, and the ability of the microorganism to survive in the host body. Now let's go through the reservoir. Reservoirs are the sources of microorganisms. Common sources are the patient's own body. Other humans, plants, and animals. The general environment also can be reservoirs, such as food, water, equipment, etc. People are the most common source of infection for others and for themselves. For example, the person with an influenza virus frequently spread it to others. The third link is portal of exit. Before an infection can establish itself in a host, the microorganisms have to leave the reservoir. There's a lot of ways that they can exist: through body fluid, skin contact, droplets, and excreta. after microorganism leaves its source of reservoir. It requires a means of transmission to reach another person or host, such as direct transmission, indirect, and airborne transmission. Direct transmission involves immediate, indirect transfer of microorganisms from person to person through touching, biting, kissing, or sexual intercourse. Droplet spread is also a form of direct transmission, but can occur only if the source and the host are within 1 meter of each other. Sneezing, coughing, or talking can project droplet spread onto the mucous membranes of human body. Indirect transmission may be either vehicle-borne or vector-borne. Infectious agent is carried from a reservoir to a susceptible host by a non-living intermediary. For example, food or water may become contaminated by a food handler who carries the hepatitis A virus. The food is then ingested by a susceptible host. For the vector-borne transmission may occur by injecting salivary fluid during biting or by depositing feces or other materials on the skin through a bite wound or a traumatized skin area. Airborne transmission may involve droplets or dust. The material is transmitted by air currents to a suitable portal of entry, usually from respiratory tract of infected person to mucous membrane of the non-infected person. Before a person can become infected, microorganisms must enter the body. The skin is a barrier to infectious agents. However, any break in the skin can readily serve as a portal of entry. Often, microorganisms can get into the body of the host through breaks in the mucous membrane of the gastrointestinal or respiratory tract. The last but not least link is susceptible host. A susceptible host is any person who is at risk for injection. Impairment of the body's natural defenses and a number of other factors can affect susceptibility to infection, such as age, that is, the very young or the very old. Patients receiving immune suppression treatment for a disease or after an organ transplant, and those with immunodeficiency. These patients have weaker immune systems than that of a healthy person, which would make them more susceptible. So far, we have talked about the chain of infection. Can you remember them? Yeah, that's right. They are the etiologic agent, reservoir, portal of exit, mode of transmission, portal of entry, and susceptible host. Now let's think about how to break the chain of infection. First, ensure the articles are correctly cleaned and disinfected or sterilized before use. Second, change wet or soil dressing immediately with appropriate skin and oral hygiene. Third, use barrier methods such as avoid coughing or sneezing over open wounds or sterile fields. The fourth link can be broken through hand washing or avoiding contact with the infected individuals. using personal protective equipment, that is PPE, if indicated. For the fifth chain, provide all patients with their own personal care items. Use aseptic technique when performing for invasive procedures. Last, maintain the integrity of the patient's skin and mucous membranes. Ensure a balanced diet, etc. By breaking this chain at any of the links, the spread of infection can be stopped. That's all for today. These are the references. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.